Admiral Marcus Kane stood on the bridge of the flagship Retribution, watching as 200 human vessels materialized from hyperspace, in perfect formation. The sight never failed to stir something primal in his chest, the raw power of humanity, unleashed upon those foolish enough to challenge them. Contact bearing 27 Mark IV, Admiral, reported Tactical Officer Reynolds, her enhanced neural interface glowing softly at her temple. Hostile fleet composition: 47 Valkyrie destroyers, 12 heavy cruisers, and what appears to be their command dreadnought. Kane's cybernetic eye whirred as it zoomed in on the enemy formation. The Valkyrie ships were sleek, organic-looking vessels that seemed to flow rather than fly through space. Their bioluminescent hulls pulsed with alien energy, and their weapon systems charged with that distinctive green glow that had terrorized lesser species for centuries. 60 ships against our 200, Kane mused, his voice carrying the confidence of someone who had never known defeat. They're either incredibly brave or monumentally stupid. The Valkyrie had been the terror of this sector for over 300 years, conquering system after system with their superior technology and ruthless efficiency. They had destroyed entire civilizations, enslaved countless species, and built an empire on the bones of those who had dared to resist. Until they had encountered humanity. Admiral, receiving transmission from the Valkyrie command ship, Communications Officer Torres announced, "Put it through. Let's hear what they have to say." The main display shimmered, revealing the grotesque form of a Valkyrie commander. The alien's chitinous exoskeleton gleamed black in the harsh lighting of its bridge, while multiple eyes tracked independently as they focused on Kane. When it spoke, its mandibles clicked in rhythm with its translated words. "Human fleet, you have entered sovereign Valkyrie space. Withdraw immediately or face annihilation. We have conquered 1,000 worlds and destroyed species more advanced than yours." Kane stepped forward, his hands clasped behind his back. His uniform bore the scars of countless battles, and the neural enhancement ports along his spine glowed with barely contained energy. "Commander Zell Thack, isn't it?" Kane said, reading from the intelligence files his implants were feeding him. "Butcher of Kepler, 452b, destroyer of the Andromedans, terror of the Outer Rim." He smiled coldly. "I've read your file. Impressive record. Unfortunately for you, your reign of terror ends today." The Valkyrie commander's mandibles spread wide in what might have been laughter. "You face the might of the collective. Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate our bioarmor." "Primitive?" Kane turned to Reynolds. "Show them what 3 centuries of human warfare innovation looks like." All ships, execute formation Omega-7. The human fleet moved with mechanical precision. The massive dreadnoughts formed the center line, their hulls bristling with railguns, plasma cannons, and quantum torpedo launchers. Flanking them, nimble destroyers and cruisers spread into attack formations that had been perfected through countless engagements. At the rear, support vessels began charging their experimental weapons technology that the Valkyrie had never encountered. "Energy signatures spiking across their entire fleet," Reynolds reported, her voice tinged with anticipation. "They're charging all weapons." "How long since we dropped out of hyperspace?" Kane asked casually. 37 seconds, sir." Kane nodded approvingly. "Right on schedule. Fire." The void erupted in light. 200 human ships unleashed their fury simultaneously. Quantum torpedoes, traveling at near light speed, crossed the distance in milliseconds. Railgun projectiles, accelerated to impossible velocities, turned space into a deadly storm of metal. Plasma beams, hot enough to melt asteroids, carved through the darkness like the wrath of gods. The Valkyrie return fire never came. The first wave of quantum torpedoes struck the alien fleet's shields, overloading their bioelectric barriers in cascading failures that rippled from ship to ship. The second wave penetrated unprotected hulls, their exotic matter warheads, creating micro-singularities that tore the vessels apart from within. Commander Zelthak's dreadnought, pride of the Velkari fleet, lasted longest nearly 15 seconds before a concentrated barrage from 3 human dreadnoughts reduced it to expanding plasma and debris. Hostile fleet eliminated, Reynolds announced with professional satisfaction. Total engagement time, 54 seconds. Kane watched the glowing wreckage drift through space, the remnants of what had once been the sector's most feared military force. Not a single human ship had taken damage. Message to Velkari High Command, Kane ordered. Record everything. Let them see what happens when they threaten human colonies. The communications array lit up as Torres began transmitting the battle footage across subspace networks. Within hours, every Velkari world would know that their invincible fleet had been annihilated in less than a minute. "Sir," Chief Science Officer Dr. Park spoke up from her station. "We're detecting quantum signatures consistent with Velkari reinforcement fleets moving toward our position. Estimated arrival, 6 hours. Kane's expression didn't change. "How many ships?" "Approximately 400, Admiral, including 3 of their super dreadnoughts." A predatory smile spread across Kane's face. "Outstanding. Signal the reserve fleets. Authorization code, Thunder 7. It's time to finish what the Velkari started." As the human fleet began preparations for the larger engagement ahead, Kane reflected on humanity's rapid rise to dominance. 3 centuries ago, they had been confined to a single star system. Now, they were the apex predators of the galaxy, and species that had once inspired terror learned to fear the sight of human warships dropping out of hyperspace. The Velkari had ruled through fear and superior technology, but they had never faced an enemy that had perfected the art of war itself, an enemy that viewed conflict not as a necessity, but as an expression of their evolutionary superiority. The next battle would last longer than 54 seconds, Kane mused. The Velkari would bring everything they had. It still wouldn't be enough.